And we're going to talk about lesson 210 today. Solving inequalities by multiplying. Okay? So, we're going to have multiplication and division equations that we're working with. But again, instead of the equal signs, these are inequalities. So we're going to solve them the same way as the equations with equal signs, but we have to remember to do a couple of things. First of all, we're going to have to reverse the sign, meaning changing it from, if it's greater than in the original problem, to a less than sign, and vice versa. If the coefficient that we're starting with is negative. Anytime you have a negative coefficient, when you get to the end after solving it, you have to reverse the sign. But only if the coefficient is negative. So we're going to have to identify the coefficient. We're going to have to see if it's positive or negative. Other than that, we solve them the same way we did before. Start on the side with the variable. This says negative 7m is greater than 35. Okay? And so to solve this, we can divide by the coefficient. So we can cross it out. Divide by negative 7 on both sides. And cross off these reciprocals because they equal 1. Negative 7 divided by negative 7 is 1. So we're left with 1m. Now, since the coefficient we're starting with is negative, since this 7 right there is a negative 7m, we have to reverse the sign in our solution. We have to change it from greater than to less than. So the solution is m is less than negative 5. M has to be less than negative 5 in order to make this equation true. Okay? To graph it, we still have to graph these. Mark 0. Mark the number, negative 5. Mark it with an open dot. And then arrow to the left. Okay? Now, let's talk about why you have to reverse the sign. Okay? Let's suppose that it still said m is greater than negative 5. Which means this would go, the arrow would go to the right. If it said m is greater than negative 5, and we tried a different number. Let's say that we substituted 0 in for m. Okay? If we substitute 0 in for m, does that make the equation true? Negative 7 times 0 is greater than 35? Does that make it true? No, 0 is not greater than 35. So if we shaded that way and we didn't reverse the sign, we are not shading the correct way. Okay? Let's try a different way. Let's try putting in negative 10 because that is less than negative 5. If we put in negative 10 here, negative 7 times negative 10 would be positive 70, right? Positive 70 is greater than 35. And so that shows that the numbers to the left of negative 5 are true. They do make the equation true. It works when you reverse the sign. Jen?
When are we going to use this in our life?
Whenever you are trying to pass a class in high school, a math class, so you have to pass a class in high school in order to get into college. You're going to have to pass a math class in college in order to get a degree. Other than that, if you go into any profession that has that uses algebra, so engineering, any science classes like nursing, medical, things like that, you're dealing with inequalities. So any of those, you're gonna use.
So she's not really into this
Right.
kind of stuff.
Let's go to the next example, okay? Look at this example, m over 6. But there's a negative sign here. If there's a negative sign, is this coefficient negative?
Yes.
Yeah. When we look at the side that's next to the variable and there's a negative sign, we know at the end you're going to have to reverse the sign. Because the number you're starting with on the side with the variable is negative. So at the end we're going to have to reverse the sign. Okay? Now, let's solve this. What is the coefficient here that we have to multiply by? The coefficient has a 1, this is 1m over 6, right? There's not a whole number in front of the m. So if this is a 1, what number is this? It's a negative 1/6. Yep. It's a negative 1/6. So, when we multiply in order to solve it, you have to multiply by a negative number. Negative 6 over 1. And then cross off those reciprocals. Negative 6 over 1 times negative 1 over 6 gives us 1m. That's what we're looking for. Now we go over to this side, multiply by the same number. Multiply by negative 6 over 1. So we have 12 times negative 6 over 1, or just 12 times negative 6. 12 times negative 6 is negative 72. So m is greater than negative 72. We'd mark negative 72 with an open dot and shade to the right. Okay? Look at this one. Last example I want you to look at. This says negative 5 is greater than or equal to m over 3. Now, look at the side with the variable first. Is there any negative sign in front of the variable? No, this is a positive coefficient. It's a positive 1/3. 1m over 3. So the number in front of the variable is 1/3. Now, we'd have to multiply by the reciprocal of this. What's the reciprocal of 1/3? You got it, 3 over 1. I know that's what you were thinking. 3 over 1. Reciprocal, so cross that out, and then multiply by the same number on the other side. 3 over 1. So we have 3 times negative 5 to get the answer. And that's negative 15. We're left with 1m, so negative 15 is greater than or equal to m. Okay? Now, we don't have to reverse the sign here because we didn't have to multiply by a negative number. The coefficient, there is no negative sign in front of the coefficient. So we keep the symbol the same. Okay? Any questions on that? Let's do a couple from your assignment. Number 1, it says first, identify if the coefficient is negative. Tell if you need to reverse the sign. So start by circling the coefficient. Circle the coefficient in number 1. Is it negative? Yeah. You should have circled negative 5 because it's right in front of the n. That's the coefficient. The coefficient is negative 5, and so we have to reverse the sign. Number 2, what is the coefficient? Yep, you should have circled 4. Coefficient is 4. Not negative 4. Do we need to reverse the sign? No. Don't reverse the sign. Do the same thing for 3 and 4 in your homework. Okay? Let's go to number 5. Skip to number 5. Last one. This is 1n over negative 4. Hold on, Emily. 1n over negative 4. In order to solve this, we're going to have to multiply by negative 4 over 1. It's the reciprocal of 1 over negative 4. Now, is this a negative number? Do we have a negative coefficient here? Yes. So right away, go down and reverse the sign. Put the sign down here. We have to reverse this sign. And then multiply by the same number on the other side, negative 4 over 1. So in order to get the solution, you have to do 7 times negative 4. That's negative 28. And on the other side, since we multiplied by the reciprocal, we're left with 1n. And so n is greater than negative 28. Now, graph it by marking the number. You have to use an open dot, and n is greater than. We have to arrow to the right. Okay? Use these as examples. Go back and look at your notes. All of the questions in your notes are just like the ones that we went through in class together. Okay? Or just like the ones on your assignment, I mean. All right.
That's a rule.